the exhaust off. Just had these glass packs. They may be cherry bombs, but I can't tell. There's no logos or nothing on them that I can find. They could be just cheap glass packs. This one, outer shell doesn't look too bad, but on the exhaust pipe, this was cracked, and it was just barely hanging on by a little nub. I could move this whole thing, and this would just twist from the main exhaust. It's 2-inch pipe. Now, these shell pipes from here back are good. There's no rust holes in them. Yeah, the inside of this, the baffle inside is just rotted out. And the other one was even worse. This one was still attached to the pipe good, but I mean, you see it's rotted through pretty bad. Probably had moisture sitting inside, it settled in the bottom. Yeah, on the inside, you see the baffle is just collapsed, rusted out. The other one, I believe it's the same way. Can't really see it in there, but it rattles pretty bad when I shake it real hard. Now this tailpipe, only rust holes in there right here, from here back. And this is the outlet, the tip. So from here up, it's all pretty good. No holes, nothing. Now, I've just got to figure out what mufflers I'm going to put back on it, if I'm going to get some glass packs. But it does have some kind of weird bends here, right here and right here. So I might have to get some flex pipe. I could upgrade it. I've got some Flowmaster 44 series chambers with some 2.5-inch pipe right outside there. And they are excellent Flowmasters. But these have 2.5-inch inlet and outlets, but it's on 2.25-inch pipe, which is not a problem. And I've got plenty of pipe I could run the full length under the car, except it has to have those bends in it. I could probably get some adapters to increase the 2-inch on the car to the 2.25-inch on these. But I haven't fully decided on that yet. I'll have to check and make sure that these are going to fit. They should. I do have some new ones. They're just like these, but they're made by Black Horse Racing. But the same thing, 2.5-inch inlet and outlet, and the same offset inlet and outlet. So, I don't know, I've got several options. But the other things I'm going to work on first. I got my new fuel line in, and I'll see if we can get that put in. And we'll worry about the exhaust a little while later. Okay, let me jump in here. I don't know what happened to the footage. I thought I videoed when I was checking the fuel line, but I can't find the footage anywhere. But anyways, when I had the gas tank out, I sprayed some PB Blaster, WD-40, and some brake cleaner all through the fuel line. Let it sit and soak. And I sprayed the air hose through it, and it was dripping underneath. And got to looking, and the fuel line was rusted in two up under the driver's floor pan. So that's why I went ahead and ordered a new fuel line. And we'll pick up on the video right here. Okay, so I went ahead and ordered a new fuel line. Now, I figured it'd be a pretty big box because of its pre-bent fuel line. It's supposed to be bent just like factory fuel line. And we're going to open it and check to make sure nothing's damaged. Oh, well, I think we're okay. does have this bend in it, but I think they did that so they could ship it, because it is a uniform bend. It's not kinked. Yeah, it even says straighten. Yeah, see, so the tag says straighten. So this was done on purpose for shipping reasons. And appears to be okay. So this would just need to be straightened out. Just gonna set that right there. And there's another piece. And this piece appears to be good too. I don't see any kinks. I believe came through just fine. Alright, so that's good. We have fuel line. 5/16, so it is factory size. I believe it'll be just fine. This company, it's all American made, inlinetube.com. And looks like they offer all kinds of brake lines, CNC computer, preformed brake, fuel, and transmission lines. So it's not sponsored. I had to pay for this, but it wasn't terribly expensive, really. This fuel line was taxes and everything. It was free shipping. Was $90, 89 something. So not bad. Yeah, it's showing you how to straighten this out. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Okay. That's it. Now I may check into them for future brake lines and transmission lines and stuff. And even order brake and fuel line clips. I think these clips on here are okay, but we'll find out when we start changing it out. All right. Yeah, I could have run a rubber line from the tank all the way front, but it's safer to have a metal line secured in place like it's supposed to be. So that's why I went ahead and decided to go with a metal line. And it wasn't terribly expensive. So safety, something first. Fuel lines, dealing with fuel, safety first is a good idea. Most other stuff, as long as safety's in there somewhere, you're okay. Depending on what it is. I use a little common sense about, where you got to apply the safety, but common sense not so common no more, so it's a good idea to be safe whenever you can. I'm not always safe whenever I can be, but I don't recommend people do things exactly like I do all the time anyway, so. All right, well, we'll see about getting this put in here soon. For now, I'm just gonna leave it right here. It'll be fine. Okay, so I didn't really film much of it, but I did get the gas tank installed. The mounting holes, I had to drill some small holes because of the original holes in the trunk floor here were stripped out and oversized. So all I did, I just drilled some holes with a new drill bit. Not even sure what size it was. It was just the right size for these screws to start, and for the threads to grab and pull it down tight. They had a ground strap there for some reason. I guess to make sure it was getting good ground so the fuel gauge would work. So I went ahead and reattached it. I mean, it's attached good. I have checked. The fuel gauge does work. And this tank's got the new fuel sending unit and everything in it. Got the new filler neck rubber and clamps on here. And I even cleaned up inside the filler neck. I had all this off, cleaned it up inside real good with the brush on my drill here. I got this long extension. That thing comes in handy. And put my brush in there. And it cleaned up the inside of that filler neck really well. I mean, it just had like some white corrosion in there, because this piece here, I believe, is aluminum or some kind of alloy anyway, and it had oxidized. Instead of rusting, there was like white powdery oxidization inside. But that brush cleaned it up and took it right out. Let's see if I can get a better look in there. Yeah, you can see a little better there. But yeah, cleaned up real good. So once I get my new fuel line on, I'll have a whole new fuel system all the way from the back to the front. Like I said, I didn't film installing this tank because it was just a matter of setting it in there, drilling some holes, and tightening down the bolts. That's all it was. There's plenty of videos on installing the sending unit, pickup tube, and all that. I mean, it's real simple. It's all one piece. It just slips right in. Just got to point it the right way. Filter tube and sending unit all go in at an angle like this. And because of the way the tank is made, this is at an angle, and the filter tube comes up and back down to a sump in the bottom of the tank. And so your wire for the fuel gauge for the sending unit should be to the top, and your pickup tube will be to the bottom. So I got that put in. Real simple. Really, really simple. And I get the fuel line changed out. I went ahead and put one of these rubber caps. They're like rubber vacuum caps, but you can cap any kind of tube with them. I went ahead and put one of them over the pickup tube where the hose connects until I can get the fuel line installed, so I don't have to worry about any trash, dirt daubers, or anything getting in there. I did replace a couple of screws here. I don't know what happened to the factory screws. I'm thinking these two are factory, but these other two were oddball, and this one, it had a bigger hole and the threads wouldn't catch. So I put a nut and regular bolt in here, and these are more like sheet metal screws. But this one's just like a regular small bolt with a nut and a lock washer on the back. And this one is just a bolt with the cable. It's got a lock washer on the back side. You just put it on there, snug it up, and you want this to be able to still turn. You don't want it tight. And this was up in this hole. It made it a pain trying to get the gas cap off. So I put it in that hole. It makes it a lot easier to get the gas cap down and out of the way so you can fill up gas. So next we'll be putting in the fuel line. I'm gonna pour some gas in it and get it fed up to the engine. And after that, I've still got to do some bleeding on the brakes. I have got all the brake lines done. Like I said, I just need to bleed them. I got the old fuel line out. Got the new one laid out next to it. If you can't tell the difference between the old one and the new one, I ain't gonna tell you. I've already straightened out the bend that they put in it to be able to ship it. You can see right here where the rubber hose is. That's where the old one broke off on the front piece. So I could have just replaced the front piece and left this one under there. But as bad rusty as it is, it probably wouldn't have been long before it would have rusted through, or it could have a thin spot in it, a couple spots, and could eventually break and start leaking. And the only difference is right here. See, here's where the brake was. And this one, the old one went up and came out right there. And that's why I had that rag there, was when I was blowing brake cleaner through it, trying to see if it would come all the way through. And of course, because of that brake, it didn't. But you can see the little hole right there where it came through the inner fender. Now, since this car was originally a 6-cylinder, I'm assuming that it came out back here. Because it was a 6-cylinder, you have more room to run your rubber line from here over to the fuel pump on the 6-cylinder. Now this one, since it's got a 302 in it, and they did put 302s in these cars, has another hole up here. And right there, it's already got rubber grommet in the hole. And I believe that's the hole that this new one goes in. So that's good. That'll work out real nice. It's already got a bolt hole under here, right there, for another clamp. And then right there is the hole with the rubber grommet. There's even another hole there, probably for a different type of engine setup. But we'll see which one this new line has to go in. I think it goes in that one, the lower one with the rubber grommet in it. If it does happen to go into the top one, I can either move that rubber grommet up to there, or I have some more rubber grommets I can put in that hole to help protect the line. But wasn't too much trouble taking out. I didn't video it. It's hard to get up under there with the camera to be able to show what I'm videoing. But it's only, I think, 4 clamps holding the rear piece on. They bolt up in there. You can see a couple of them laying right there in front of that screwdriver. And then there was one right there on this front piece. This new piece, it's going to take 2. But that won't be a problem. I can find another one. I think I've got something in a bucket back there, spare parts. But yeah, it's going to be pretty simple to put back together. All right, well, I've been down a few days waiting on parts. There's other things I could do to the car, but I would rather do it with it off of the ramps in the back. And since I've already got it up, I'm going to fix the exhaust first, and I've had some problems and issues with getting new mufflers sent. I got my new tires right there, and I want to wait about getting those put on until after I get the exhaust done. And still got to give a little tune-up and a couple other things. But while I'm waiting on parts, figured I'd see what I could do about these old center caps here. These just snap in, and I've never been a big fan of alloy or mag wheels without center caps. To me, it just don't look right. And see, it looks better, but these old caps are pretty rough shape. I'm not a fan of the snap-in ones because they're, as you can see, they're pretty easy to take out. But a lot of cars nowadays have snap-in ones anyways. So I think these will be all right. I don't think nobody will try to take them. They're pretty rough. These are old Lone Star mags. I'd like to see if I can clean them up, get them looking better, and reuse them, because I've had a hard time trying to find any online to replace them, other than spending like $100 for some that might work. This one here has got a couple of things broke off, but I think if I clean it up real good, I've got some real strong glue. I may be able to take and glue in a piece of plastic, heat it a little bit, put a little bend in it so it'll catch. All it's got to do is just catch inside. There's a lip right here. I can show you better on the back wheel. See, right here it's got a lip that they snap into. So this will snap in there and stay in there pretty well, but a bump just right would knock it loose. This is one that had two of these tabs broken off of it. I just took some plastic from this old battery box piece I had. I cut the bottom of this battery box off to use as a battery tray for the battery on my trailer for my winch. I just cut a strip out of that and then fitted it in here, cut it to length, and glued it in with some Gorilla Glue. And that's the foaming kind of Gorilla Glue, but it'll be all right. And then I took a couple of small pieces and glued on right here where those tabs were missing. And this will fit in there nice and snug, and shouldn't have to worry about it coming out of the wheel as easily. So about $6 of Gorilla Glue, an old yard sale battery box, and got my center caps fixed. Saved me about $80, 70, 80 bucks. And they had this Lone Star Mags emblem on them, and you can see this one's faded real bad. This one's peeled off almost completely. But these two were still decent. One of them's in real good shape. The other one is not quite as good, but it's still pretty good. So I taped them up. I'm gonna try and save them. I may just run with just these two Lone Star Mags emblems showing and just paint over these two. But now I've got to clean these up. I've already kind of run some 100 grit sandpaper on them, kind of smooth them out a little bit. They've got imperfections. You can see where somebody had took the wheels off and the socket got into the side of it a little bit. But that'll be all right. It won't be too noticeable. But just gotta wash them. I'm gonna wash them with some soap and water, because this plastic, any kind of paint thinner or anything like that, will cause it to melt a little bit. And I've got some this here Rust-Oleum chrome paint. Now, chrome paint never really looks like chrome. It's gonna be kind of like a bright silver, but it'll be all right. This is a different kind I haven't tried before, so we'll see how it does. Maybe it'll come out pretty close to that, but I ain't holding my breath on that. Okay, well, I got my center caps painted. This is the worst of all of them. I think it'll be okay. And as far as the decals missing, I found these at AutoZone. They were marked down from $20 to $5. So I grabbed them, and they fit perfect on the end of these. So, I think I'm going to try them. I think they'll look pretty good. Not sure if I'm going to do the other two because the logos, the decals on the other two original ones are still kind of there. That's the worst one. The other one's better. So, I'm thinking I may leave these like this for a while, but put those on the two on the back, I believe. Look pretty good. All right. Bought these mufflers. Now, the reason I got these is because these are almost just like the ones that came out of it. These are so similar to the ones that were under it. I shouldn't have too much trouble getting them to fit. I may have to get another piece of exhaust pipe. It's got 2-inch exhaust on it, so I've got some around here somewhere. May just have to get a couple pieces about that long. But, because these are just a couple of inches shorter, and I had to cut a little extra off to get a good straight cut where the old ones were. Plus, I had to cut off what was up inside of here because it was clamped in and wouldn't come off. So I just cut them off. And one of them was about to break off the end there too. It's part of why the exhaust was so loud. This is about how each side is going to be mocked up. I ordered 8 of these clamps like this. And these are just the cheap aluminized steel. They should work. I had to spread them open pretty far. They're supposed to be for a 2-inch lap joint. And I had to spread them apart pretty far to get them to fit. But I think they'll work. But I ordered 8, and I only got 4 of them in the mail. The other 4, I guess, are back ordered. And turns out I may only be able to use 6 of them anyway. But since the others probably won't be here for a couple more days, I've got 2 of these new clamps here. And this pipe fits real snug over the 2-inch pipe on the car. So where I cut off the old mufflers, the pipe will go in here, clamp this down, and then this will get clamped down, that'll get clamped down. I'm going to leave everything a loose fit until I get it all under there and lined up and get it kind of sitting on the hangers like it needs to be. And then hopefully soon after that, I'll be putting these on there. Now these are chrome tips. They were a little expensive, a little more than I wanted to pay, but got them at AutoZone. And I think I can make them work. This is supposed to go from like a 2 1/4 down to 2-inch diameter pipe. I got some 2 1/4 pipe out there that I may cut some pieces out of about so long and cut a slot in it so it'll squeeze together over the 2-inch pipe. So that way these won't have to bend down as far to clamp onto the 2-inch pipe. The reason I wanted to go with these tips is, for one, this car didn't have any chrome tips on it at all. And I always like chrome tips on my exhaust. I always think it looks better. And another reason, well, you can see I got one of the tips here, is all these rust holes in the end of this tailpipe. But they only go back so far. From there up, there's no more rust holes. So I can cut these off to put these tips on. And the clamp is sitting about where it was. I have to get a bigger clamp. But I can cut it off there and then hang it by the hanger that was under there. And then these are going to stick out about like that. I've already kind of test fit them, and they're going to stick out a little bit. I think it'll look pretty good. But yeah, I just got to get under there, get all this bolted up, get it fit like I want it, then tighten everything down. Okay, exhaust It's on there. Pipes are a little bit crooked. This one's hanging down a little lower, but I can fix that when I go put my tips on. I gotta get some bigger clamps. All I've got to do is drop that exhaust hanger down just a little bit further. I've got a couple new exhaust hangers here somewhere, right here. And I might put these on it in place of these two. This one's okay, but this one, see, it's way up there. But like I said, I can fix that when I go get some bigger clamps for these. And these will go on not like that. Well, it's hanging down a little bit because it's not clamped on, but be about like that. And it's only sticking out about that far behind the bumper, so it'll be okay. All right, let's crank it up and see how it sounds. More like cluster now. Alright, that's much better than it was. Puffed a little smoke, but it's been sitting uncranked for about 2 weeks. I flooded it a little bit too. That smoke, you can smell it, it's real gassy. Well, you can't smell it, I can smell it. But it's alright. Sounds a lot better. I got it off the ramps, got it back on its feet. Checked the gear oil in the rear end before I got it off the ramps and got the exhaust all finished up. Rear end had plenty of gear oil. Asked me how I know. Yeah, it was all over my arm. But got my new temperature sending unit for my gauge put in. I did the timing. I got lucky and got it pretty much right on the money. I bought one of these dial back 10 months. This one here is fairly inexpensive. What I like about the dial back is once you find your top dead center, the way I found top dead center, I took number one spark plug out and I took my bore scope, stuck it in there, rotated the crank manually until saw the piston come up, and it will come up, and when it hits top dead center it will hesitate before it goes back down. So I got my top dead center. And then with that dial back, good thing about it is the pointer for the timing on this one is missing. That dial back, you can put a mark anywhere. And all I did, I took a hacksaw blade, set down here, clamped it snug on the fuel pump. Snug enough where it wouldn't move, but not snug enough to where it hurt anything. And then I just made a mark on the harmonic balancer, and then a mark on the saw blade, and use that. And that dial back, you don't have to have the degrees. You can turn that dial to what timing you want to set it at, and the marks will line up. So that's the biggest reason I got that dial back. Plus the other timing light I had was an old one, probably belonged to my grandpa, I don't know, but it was an ancient timing light. But yeah, I took it for a test drive, and runs pretty good, sounds good. Got my exhaust tips on, and look good on there. I got everything tight. They're a little bit crooked, but I don't care. It'll be all right. But I take it up for another test drive real quick, see how it does, and let you guys see me drive off so you can hear it. Alright, well, that's pretty good. That left front brake's still sticking a little bit. That's why it spun a little bit going up the driveway. But all I gotta do is back that adjuster off. Won't be a problem. Yeah, it's coming along nicely. Oh, and I haven't been videoing a lot of this because I'm running low on storage space. And this video takes up a lot of memory, so I'll try and fix that. I've got to download some videos and files and make room, so I'll try and get more detailed video of what I'm doing in the future. Yeah, making progress. Yeah, there's the tires I'm going with. BF Goodrich. 205 70 14s on the front, 245 60 14s on the back. Here's how she looks now with the new tires. and the center caps painted and put on. I think it looks pretty good. Every little piece that looks good to take attention away from the rust holes is a good thing. And tires were a little pricey, but they were about the only ones in the sizes I could find for the look I wanted. They're about the same size and diameter. The back tires, the 245/60s, are a little bit bigger in diameter than the 205/70s. But it's only within like a quarter to a half inch bigger in diameter. I didn't want them super wide because I didn't want them rubbing anywhere. Just wanted a little wider on the back than the front to give it a little more aggressive look. And I think I accomplished it. Yeah. I went and had them mounted and balanced and went and had them washed and the wheels, scrubbed them up good, and washed the blue off of the white letters. Yeah, it's looking real good, those tires. And next, right now, I think I'm going to adjust the steering, see if I can get some of this clay out of this steering wheel here. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but I think I can do better. I mean, you can see right there. Now to adjust these, you can take up some of the slack by loosening this lock nut and turning this screw here. And then that'll take up a lot of slack. There's a certain way it has to do it. The gears have to contact a certain way. There is a certain amount of tolerance, but for this car, just to get it on the road and you know, just for an occasional driver, I think it'll be okay. But all this will be redone the right way someday. But for now, I just want to get it to where I can drive it. I figure I'll go ahead and see if I can patch the driver's floor pan. I'm going to see if I can just pull up the corner of the carpet just to replace that one part, because the rest of the floor pans are in good shape. So hopefully I'll be able to get it good enough to where maybe I can slide a piece of metal underneath and put a couple of screws in it. Now, when I restore this car someday, if I'm able to, I will get a replacement floor pan like it needs. It's got some other rust repair that needs to be done too, but I'll get it good enough to where I can, you know, drive it and enjoy it until I am able to restore it. So this floor pan is completely rotted through in this area here. So I'm gonna see if I can do something about that. I like these floor mats. You don't see these anymore. Dirty, mean, and nasty. And I've got both of them. That one looks, you know, brand new because it's been covered by this one. This one should clean up good. I like them. I'm going to put them back in here probably. So, gotta get these out of the way. And it's got this aftermarket carpet in here. But when I pull this out from under the trim here, the factory carpet is still down there. And you can see where it's had a floor mat right there. It's still pretty blue. So maybe, hopefully, I can pull this original carpet out, pressure wash it, clean it, depending on what the rest of it looks like. But if it looks good like this, right over this big rust hole, the rest of it should be in real good shape. Hopefully. But I'm not going to pull the whole thing out today. I'm just going to see if I can pull it back far enough to get a piece of metal underneath here, secure it with a couple of screws, just so my foot don't fall through the floor or it slings water up off the tire in case I happen to get caught in the rain or something. But let's see what we can do. I got this piece of carpet pulled up. And look at this. This is the original. It could be a replacement carpet. I mean, it's very possible, but I mean, it's the color I want, and it's in pretty good shape. But there's what I gotta fix. Or at least patch for now. And see if I can get this carpet up without damaging it. This carpet I'm not worried about. It's all sun faded and it's not tore, so I could probably dye it and reuse it for something else, or save it for a replacement carpet for this thing in case something happens to this other carpet. But it won't go to waste. I think it'll clean up and maybe able to, like I said, maybe able to dye it and use it again. Oh, and this still has the clutch pedal in it from it being a 3-speed car. So that's a good thing. So if I decide to put in a 4-speed, which I would like to, because I have one, I've got my clutch pedal already. Okay, well, I got the carpet. I got the carpet up, and I think I can get up into there far enough, and we'll see if I can cut the worst of this out so it's not flopping loose. This piece of metal I put in here because when I put the fuel line in, this was drooping down onto the new fuel line. So there's the new fuel line. You can see it again back here, right there. So we'll see what I can do about putting in a piece of metal, just temporary, to give me a floorboard of some kind. So clean this up and see how much of this old I can cut out. Then this frame rail here has some rust on the bottom side of it, and the torque box over there where the fuel line goes through needs to be replaced. But as far as structure wise, I think it's solid enough and safe enough to drive it for a while, as long as I don't get too wild or too rough with it, which I can't with these 4-lug wheels anyways. And that 4-lug rear end might not hold up to the power that 302 has if I abuse it too much. Those 4-lug rear ends, they will take a lot of stress. They will hold up to quite a bit, but this one has some wear, so I don't want to push my luck, so I'll just be taking it easy. But yeah, this is all got cleaned up a little bit and put in a pan of some kind. It goes to right back here. It's solid again. So I just got to be careful when I'm trimming this out not to get into that fuel line, which I don't think will be much of a problem. Because worst of it, I can just pull up with my fingers like that. Alright. And if I do have to cut it with like a die grinder or cutting wheel, I can put that piece of metal underneath to make sure I don't get into the fuel line. That's a good thick piece of metal. I mean, it's not super thick, but it's thick enough to keep me from accidentally getting into that fuel line. So you can see it's about a 1/16 of an inch thick, and it would take some effort to actually run the die grinder and cut off wheel through that. So get started and see how much I can get done. Okay, well, I got it vacuumed out. Got most of the big pieces, rusty metal, pulled out of here just with my hands. Just had to wiggle them a little bit, back and forth, and they came off that one. Probably have to cut that. All right, it's coming. But I'm still going to have to cut some of this other off of here. But yeah, got a little pile of rusty floorboard started, and there was a lot of trash and sand in this frame rail here, and I think looked like maybe this car was parked for a while and sat in a low spot, and sand worked its way up in that frame rail. Bottom of the frame rail has holes rusted through it, a couple spots pretty bad, but the sides are still solid, so I think it'll be fine. Structurally, you know, it's weakened a little bit, but as long as I take it easy, I think it'll be all right. You can see this piece is still solid. The sides are still good and thick and solid. So I'm just gonna put a patch panel over this for now. I'll probably come in with a die grinder and cutting wheel. I may just be able to use some snips and just cut out some of these rough edges. And I will do it right someday, but for now, just want to put a panel in here just to get it to where I can drive it and enjoy it until I am able to do a proper repair and restoration. And I'll do my best to keep it out of rain and wet conditions to help keep that from getting worse. Just moisture in the air is going to be bad enough on it, but not as bad as it actually driving on wet roads and stuff. Let's see what else we can get done. Anybody need an original floor pan for a '69 Mustang? $200, no low ballers. I know what I got. It's original sheet metal for a '69 Mustang. Alright, floor pan's installed. Now actually, I just used a piece of cardboard to make me a template, so I can cut out a piece of sheet metal, and I think this is going to work. I have to flap up the edge where I can drill, and I think I'll just use pop rivets to hold it in place. Alright, now I had this old piece of sheet metal. It's off one of the big central heat and air units, and that's why I save a lot of stuff. Find a use for it someday. I'm gonna cut my patch panel out of that. There's a little hole right there, but where that's at, where it falls on this piece here, that's going to be up on the bottom of the firewall. And that area is not too bad, so that'll be okay. I could just cut that corner off there too, but yeah, well, this piece is going to work. And while I'm cutting that out, I had some really old rush converter, old spray can rush converter, and I went ahead and just sprayed this in here with it. I mean, it probably won't do no good, but it ain't gonna hurt none. Just give a little more protection until I am able to properly fix this. But for now, just to get it running, driving, this will be fine. Okay, well, I got my piece of sheet metal marked with my template now. I decided to do it this way because from here to here is perfect length of what I need. So all I have to cut is this corner, that corner, and then there, across, and there. So it'll be a lot less cutting. This piece right here is going to be right in the middle, but that's way up on the firewall, and there's still good sheet metal there, or decent sheet metal. It'll be okay. And I'm going to leave this Amana tag on there just in case for some reason I don't get around to restoring it and it goes to somebody else, and they'll find them a little surprise when they pull up the carpet and find that. So just gotta get this cut out, do a little bit of bending on it, and see if we can get it installed. Alright, so we have the Amana high efficiency floor pan installed now. I just used a few pop rivets just to hold it in place. I'm not worried about sealing it around the edges. I'm going to try to keep from driving it on wet roads any more than I keep from it. So that should do. And I was going to put some pop rivets here in the center down in that frame rail, but it's not going to matter much. So it may just make a little racket, but over time that should stretch out to more. Put my feet on it, it should form into place. It should be all right. Well, let's put this carpet back. Now this factory carpet that was underneath here, it's a little more rotten than I thought it was, but I still may be able to save it. For now, I'm going to put it back down in here and then put this other aftermarket carpet back on the top of it. I've got this piece of wood right here holding it up out of my way while I was working on this. But that piece of aftermarket carpet will help protect it until I can pull it out and clean it. And I think if I clean it real good, then spray some adhesive on the back and maybe put down like a piece of tarp on the back side of it and glue it to it. Maybe that'll help preserve it and keep it from tearing anymore. So right here, let's try to tear it a little bit, because it is pretty brittle and rotten, but I still may be able to save it. If not, I can buy a new one someday, but for now it'll be all right. It just smells bad. I think I may get some dryer sheets or air freshener and throw it under there to help push some of that stink out. But for now, floor pan's gonna work. Okay, well, I've been trying to straighten out this mess of wiring, and somebody had some pretty creative stuff going on here. This light here, I think, was for the fog lights that's out front, but they were disconnected, so I might just take those off. There was another switch right here, and that's part of it. It came apart when I took it out, but I had the turn signals wired into that. Now I still got to fix this wire properly, but had this wire run over to the switch, and then had two wires coming from that switch. One of them went in here, and one of them went in here and plugged on here. So I had something going on. Just because the turn signal, you have to hold it down to make it work on the left side, but it works. It works on the right side. Listen, you can hear that. You hear that flasher opening and closing. That was the right side. That's the left side. So they work. It's just somebody wired in that switch, because this one just have to hold it down because the catch is broken off of it. So my Trano has the same problem, so I'm gonna just drive it like that. Still a few things I gotta figure out, but got the radio working. Hand blow fuse, and the speakers are trash. All that's left of the speakers is just the paper. So I hooked up another speaker and put it in there and put in a new fuse and got it working. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I've run out of stock footage on this car. So if I'm going to get a video up next week, I've got to get back to work on it. Which shouldn't be a problem because weather's been nice the past few days. Hopefully it'll stay nice for a while longer. I know we got some more cold spells coming before spring, but pretty nice right now. And got some car shows coming up before too much longer too, and I want to take the Mustang. So I should be able to have it ready for an upcoming car show in April, I believe. It's car show or cruise in, whichever you want to call it. This one, they call it a cruise in, but it's car show. But anyways, I'm going to try and have it ready for that. I appreciate y'all watching, and y'all take care.